Okay, what we today, you know, about right now, this time roughly, is 10 years. 10 years since Michu and I met. And we just thought it'd be fun to sort of, because a lot of people ask us, how do you meet Michu? And I don't know how what the Akhas ask her, but that's what they asked me, the Westerners. And I thought it'd be sort of fun to talk about it because we had asked a lot. I've been in Thailand since 89, 90, 91, and in 91 I started working with the Akha in Masai, Chiang Rai province. And I'd probably been working there 8 or 9 years, and I was helping a village that was across the valley from Michu's village, Pah Nmm called, well, it was Huma, Akha, and Huyo. Lisaw, there was Huyo Lisaw, and then there was Huyo Paso, and Huyo Lisaw was the highest up village part of Huyo, and the Thai army forced them to relocate along with a village at Huamekom down to Hoi Krai. And I went up to see the village at Huamekom, and it was gone. It was empty. All the huts were there, but it was empty. And they said they're down at Hoi Krai now. So I went down there and found out that Huyo Lisu had also been moved down there, and they were just dumped in this field. And so I was helping that village get on its feet after the forced relocation. And I met a young man there called Akha. And a couple of years later, Akha's wife died of malaria. And so anyway, I went by that village a lot, like once a day or a couple times a day to the village at Hoi Krai. It was a traditional Akha village. And it was on some of the land of Sajje. And so one Sunday, I'd been out for several days out to the villages, and one Sunday, Akha called me, and I was sleeping, and I woke up, and I had one of the first cell phones in Thailand that they had, and I still have it in the bus here. And he said, "Hey, can you come down to the village today? Are you coming down?" And I said, "Well, I wasn't really planning on it, but I will." You know, it was about 13 kilometers from Mayside. And so I said, "Okay." So I got up, I got something to eat, and I drove down to the village. And I got there, and Akha and Ado, her uncle named Ozzy, was married to a woman who now was the daughter of the headman, one of the headmen down at Hoi Krai, who was originally at either Huamekom or Huyo Lisu. And so he was there. Her brother was coming up, and Ado, who was Buti's Pibu from Huamekom, her son, and Akha, who was from Huyo Lisu, and then there was one other person, I forget who that was, and they were all dressed up in the village, and they said, I said, "Hey, what's going on?" And they said, "Oh, we need a ride out to this village called Pah Nmm because there's a funeral there, and we're all going." And I said, "You called me down here and didn't tell me that you were going out there, that's why you wanted me to come? That's like 2 hours by four-wheel drive." And so I said, "There's no way I'm going out there, man. I'm tired, I'm beat, I want to get some rest. I'm not driving way out there, and it's a lot of diesel." And so they got this real disappointed look in their face, and so I said, "Okay, well, all right, I'll take you out there, but I'm coming back tonight. You have to get your own ride back." So I went out there, and they were having this big party in the village, and it was her grandfather had died, and it was a funeral. And so they were all in the village, and I noticed, I told the Akha, I said, we've been friends for a long time, and I said, this village is different. They're really calm, and they don't seem to be, they seem to have a tight village, a lot of unity in the village, and I'll stay the evening. And so Ado and I were put up in her father's house. So Ado and so that evening, there was all the young women in the village selling soda pop. They went downtown, they bought soda pop and ice and rice sacks, and they put it in big black tubs, and they poured the ice in there and put the soda pop in there, and they were selling the soda pop for like twice the price. But it was, you know, young people trying to make a go of it. So like I bought some, we were talking, and Ozzy's wife died, and so I said, "Hey, when are you going to get remarried?" And he said, "Well, what do you think about this Akha girl here? And I said, well, she's really nice. I said, but really I like her younger sister because she's got a great smile, and that was Michu. And he said, well, you can't marry your younger sister because the oldest sister has to marry first. And I said, well, she has a boyfriend already, right? So we'll just wait till her boyfriend and her get married, and then we'll get married. So it turned out, Michu asked me when I was coming back to the village, and so I kept coming back with Otto. Started farming with her family, going way up on the ridge 2 hours and farming, and rice and corn and soybeans and everything, and seeing how hard that was. And so I came back and I said to her, Mom, I want to marry your daughter. You know, it's up to Michu, but I just said I want to make my intentions really clear. I want to marry Michu. And so they sort of said, well, you can't do that for at least a year or so, and you know, Asha has to get married first and stuff. And so I become friends with Asher's boyfriend, who is from Pah Nmm, and Akha, and was his name. And so they got married in like January of the following year, of like 6 months later, and Michu and I got married in February. Balanisi Nomana. And Asha Balatisi Aza into Jimenati Kalame Nonga Miza Nomana. Zonjan. So we had a 3-day wedding in the village, and then we had a hut built there, and I lived half time in Mesai and half time in the village. And then after 9/11, I moved to the village completely and closed everything in Mesai. And the guy holding the camera, Aso, he was our first child. So he's 9 years old now, and so no, Jimina Palatoa. Aje. Toa bisinya masima etia. So Michu, I said, well, why do you get married to a foreigner? And she says, well, everybody's got their own heart. They do their own thing. And she's so she says, I'm not sure exactly why I wanted to marry to a foreigner, but anyway, we got married, and we got 5 kids now, and 10 years, and we have our ups and downs, and we're seeing our kids growing up, and we're going to see our kids get married and have little kids, and we're on this ride across the United States, and Akha Gakwa Choba Noaji Sunny. So now my work is working with the Akha people, so I'm asking her, what do you think about? You know, I work with the Akha people all the time. So she said she, you know, went with me when we were dating to Mesai and around to the Akha villages where I worked, and she thought, well, this guy cares about other people in the other Akha villages, and so it seems good to her. And you know, I don't know if she's always felt that way since then. It's like, if you weren't screwing around working with helping the Akha, you know, we wouldn't be broke, or we wouldn't have spent this money or that money, or lost this time, or read some book, or something. So she sort of stares me with the Akha work. It's like if I was a cop and I got married, would I stop being a cop? If I was a fireman and I got married, would I stop being a fireman? And it's sort of like that. My work's with the Akha people, and we got married. And so I keep working with the Akha and doing projects for them and doing the best I can and take care of the family. And Michu's a pretty smart woman, and she knows a lot of things about farming and taking care of the kids, and probably going to get a driver's license here when we get back to Oregon, and take some more English classes, and going to go back to Laos and see the Akha there, see her parents. So I don't know if it's easy on Michu being married to me, because I'm pretty consumed with the Akha work, but we work it out. And so Nishope Amia Ko Josi Chikoloe. So I asked her how many years we're going to stay together still, And
Ngô anh mẹ của cho anh mẹ nó cho em mà xem được ngô ông gọi yêu cho mẹ mà cho gọi yêu già cho ngô cho.
So what do you think of being married to a foreigner after 10 years? A white guy. Pala. Yeah, Pala. What do your parents think about you being married to a Falang? Pala.
Pala ho Akha mà sinh ra đấy rồi anh mà số agumon mi Akha số agumon na Akha số Pala agumon mi Pala agumon anh mà Akha mà agumon nó agumon à gì mi agumon mà sao?
So she said, you know, in Akha you want who you want, and she decided she wanted a Pala, a Westerner, and if she hadn't wanted to marry, she wouldn't have married. And so it's everybody's heart's different. And so I went up to that village every couple of days for 6 months until we got married, and then I lived in the village for several years and fought with the Thai army and the Thai police about coming in the village beating people up.
Ngoan nó thì có lối cho nó chùa có phải làm gì đó cũng có bố là cũng lên mà cũng có là thì cái chỗ cho nó hỗ trợ mà lo hạt gì là mình là do mà cho kiểu mình này thì có lối cho mình này thôi mình này ngoan cho mà bố phải là bố mẹ thôi mình này thì thôi qua
So before we got married in the traditional Akha system, and to get married to her, I had to be adopted into another clan, which was Byonle clan. She's Wuza, so I had to adopt in with a Bossa, another clan in the village, and become his son, and do a ceremony and become his son, so that I could marry her. Because she had to marry within the clan system, and so I did that ceremony, and I became a Byonle gu, Akha, and so that I had to live under all the laws of the Akha, and then I could marry her, and then we could stay in the village. Otherwise, we couldn't live in the village because I wasn't Akha, so I had to become Akha in a ceremony to marry her and to name our children. And so a Bossa and a Bossa's wife and all the brothers and sisters, they're my family in Pah Nmm, and then she's from the Wuza clan, a Bossa and a Mossa, and then the grandmother was still there after the funeral, and I knew her for years, and she's a great old lady, and she passed away, and so that was some of it. And is a really enriching life with her family and in the village. She has a sister, Akha, Asha, Asu, brother Asu, a brother Ajo, and a brother Aza. And so, yeah, it's been a real interesting time, and it's been rough on her because of the deportation, and having a baby when I was gone, and going over to Laos and being stuck in Laos and Vietnam and China for a year, and doing this trip across America has its up and down, and then we go back to Laos and see parents, and so it's a cross-cultural. Lots of times there's misunderstanding. She thinks the way that foreigners, Western people do things, a lot of times in my family, maybe not what she likes, and so it's hard on her because she doesn't always feel accepted, but we try to cope with that, and we got a bunch of great kids.